Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Mayor Drapieski.
Here.
Councilman Beller.
Here.
Councilman Bergeron.
Here.
Councilman Martin.
Here.
Councilman Tefend.
Here.
Councilwoman Thomas.
Here.
And Councilman Robel.
Here.
And we have a quorum.
Wonderful. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of December 15th.
So moved. Support.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Citizens to be heard. Anybody wish to be heard this evening?
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Diane Anderson. I live at 24761 East Huron River Drive. I just want to say we have a wonderful fire department, and I thank them for, we needed them called out on Tuesday. It was December 30th. We had a small chimney fire, and they are awesome. They did an excellent, excellent job. I just want you to know that we have wonderful guys.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry you needed to see them, but it's good. That's why they're there.
They were very thorough.
Brian Wolf, same address. I've been there for 45 years, and first time we needed them, they were very thorough. Afterwards, they checked the walls out for any heat inside the walls. I mean, they really did a fantastic job. And while I'm up here, I'd like to thank Bill Vack for supplying us with a basketball hoop. My grandkids enjoy it immensely. Thanks, Bill.
Anybody else wish to be heard this evening?
Hello, my name is Rosa Barella. I live in Woodhaven, but I'm here to, on behalf of my sister Gloria Sturgill, who lives in Flat Rock on Woodruff. I'm not sure of the address. But I'm here because my nephew Todd is missing, and it was on the 31st, and we appreciate all the help that we can get, you know, by your police staff. You here in the audience today, please, it's in the paper. Please help us bring my nephew home, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Our thoughts and prayers will be with you, and hopefully, I know we'll do everything we can.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to be heard this evening? If not, we will move on to reports from department heads. Chief, you want to go first?
Good evening, Council, Mayor, Madam Clerk. This is good news stuff for me. By the way, Happy New Year, everybody. It's a great start to 2015. A little cold, but you know we'll deal with that. It's winter time. We got to expect it. I'm here to administer oath of honor for our newest hired police officer, Joshua Bouchard. But before I do that, before I bring him up here, I thought it only fitting to give you a little bit of a history on the process that the police department and the city went through to hire Officer Bouchard. You know, we advertised on a large scale through multiple sources to put out that we were looking for police officers, and the response was great. The response was awesome. We heightened our requirements. We raised the educational requirements, and still received many qualified individuals. So with the paperwork that comes in and all the resumes that come in, we sift through those, and we pick out the ones that we feel are the very best out of that group. And then we set out to do the next phase, which is an oral interview. The day that we conducted oral interview, Madam Clerk was kind enough to sit in with us. It was a panel of 4 of us that did those interviews, and everybody that interviewed that day it was more than qualified to do the job of a police officer. And we were going through the routine, and we were getting to a point where we were thinking that although qualified, nobody was really standing out and screaming Flat Rock to us and screaming the things that we wanted to hear, because some of the things that you hear you can't put into a question. Some of the things you want to hear you can't put into a question, and you just kind of know it when you feel it. And so 4 o'clock, our last interview of the day, and in walks this kid, right? And he's our last one of the day, and we're sitting there, we sit down and go, you know, here we go again with you know, a lot of the rah-rah and the same answers and the same things that we've heard all day long. And out of the gate, this young man starts talking about family. He starts talking about how, we said, what is it about Flat Rock? Why do you want to work here? You know, why are you better? Why should we pick you? The typical question, why pick you over everybody else? He said, because this is like home to me. And he said this is like home to me about 100 times throughout the interview. So many times, in fact, that after he left, one of the first comments he said, hey, do you think the kid feels like he's home when he's here? and he does, and he did, and it was sincere, and it was genuine, and that right there is what got us all kind of leaning forward in our seats and thinking about what Mr. Bouchard was going to bring to Flat Rock, because I think I've said this to many of you over again in just the short time I've been here. You all already feel like family to me. This already feels like home to me, and to have this young man come in with that attitude, there is no doubt in my mind that he is going to be an outstanding asset, and already has proven to be an outstanding asset to our police department in just the early goings on in his very young career. So I just wanted you to be aware of that, and be aware of what a fine young man you have here. He is many of his family members are here today to give their support. And without further ado, I'm going to bring up Officer Bouchard to administer the oath of honor. Joshua. Okay, I want you to repeat after me. On my honor,
On my honor,
I will never betray my badge,
I will never betray my badge,
my integrity,
my integrity,
my character,
my character,
or the public trust.
or the public trust.
I will always have the courage
I will always have the courage
to hold myself
to hold myself
and others accountable
and others accountable
for our actions.
for our actions.
I will always uphold the Constitution,
I will always uphold the Constitution,
my community,
my community,
and the agency I serve.
and the agency I serve.
Congratulations. There you go, young man.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Welcome to Flat Rock.
Welcome to Flat Rock.
Welcome home.
John, do you have anything else?
No, sir. Thank you.
Brian, anything? Bernie? Liz? Bill? Matt?
The one we wanted to stay down.
Just wanted to let everybody know, we actually made ice today. We've been struggling with the weather. I mean, last week, it was ridiculously warm. Then it went bam and turned cold. No good way to make proper ice. We stuck a fire hose in it and let it run. So we will have ice. It's not gonna be as nice as it could be, but just late in the season as it is, I think it's the best resort. Another piece of news is May 2nd, we're going to be hosting Wayne County household hazardous waste drop-off. So basically anybody in Wayne County can come and drop it off. It'll be held at the ball fields. And I'll have more details when I get them from Wayne County. But it will be May 2nd. So, and that's all I have.
Megan, anything?
Nothing tonight.
All right. Dave, anything? All right, we'll start going through council members. Steve, anything?
I'd like to say Happy New Year to everybody. And you know what, with this Todd Martinez missing, we have these things. I suggest maybe some people take some pictures of it, put it on social media, Facebook, Twitter, that type of thing. Maybe we can get the word out a little more. Really sorry to hear about that. Hopefully we'll find him. And other than that, I'm good.
Rick?
Nothing, Ike.
Ken? Jim?
Just wish everybody a Happy New Year and warn everybody that yes, we have had a cold snap with snow and the roads do get slippery. I found that out this morning as I almost slid through an intersection in because we hadn't gotten salt on the roads yet. That's all I have.
John?
Just Happy New Year, and I think that might be Mom and Dad up there, right? Thanks for let us have your son there. He'll be a valuable asset for you, and I can tell you what, if he made it past John's interviewing process, we know he's good. So, welcome aboard, bud.
Dawn?
Nothing.
All right. Got a couple of things tonight. First of all, Happy New Year, everybody. 2015 is going to be a pretty good year here in the city of Flat Rock. Certainly, we will do what we can to help get the word out on Mr. Martinez. I know it's already been shared around Facebook a little bit, and we will certainly do whatever we can on a cable channel and website to do everything we can to help. I know the police department is busy at work on it as well. And I know all of council was notified this afternoon by the police chief as well. Matt provided an ice rink. We were hoping to have had it up earlier for the holiday season. However, that was just not possible when you have an outdoor ice rink. We were kind of beholden to the weather. And certainly welcome to Officer Bouchard. As some of you have seen, we've been doing a number of these here recently. Officer Bouchard represents the third new officer to join the Flat Rock Police Department within the last couple of months, which is certainly a needed development and something that we said would happen upon settlement of the new patrol contract. So that is something that we've needed for a while and is coming through. I can tell you that we're also in the process of hiring a fourth new officer as well. So I look forward to Officer Bouchard's service to our community, hopefully for a very long time, and as well as another new face, kind of reinvigorating our police department. So good luck to you, and please stay safe out there. Let's see. We also have a vacancy in our recreation department. Joanne has made the decision to retire after many years of good service to this community, which presents us an opportunity to fill that position and carry that department forward. Everybody should have received a message from me with my recommendation for that position, along with the resumes of other candidates that were considered for that. You know, so I like to say, you know, it's always worth going and looking outside to see if you can see what kind of candidates are out there. But it's also, you know, if you have the opportunity and the candidate is the right candidate, a great potential to promote from within the organization. I do think in this case we have a very strong internal candidate who we know and has done very well in his position here, and I think is ready to step up into the director's position. As you know, at this juncture, with only 1 year left in the current council and mayor's term, you're looking at basically a 1 year appointment before this person would have to be reappointed. Which also I do tell all candidates that I'm interviewing of that fact, because it's only fair when people are making career decisions that is the time frame. And really, it's not even a year commitment, because all department heads serve at the pleasure of city council. So with that, I don't know if everybody had a chance to either talk to the candidate that I recommended, or check out the other resumes. I can tell you that from my interviewing process, and I've now gone through this with several department heads. We've had situations where the choice was pretty clear, and situations where, you know, it was pretty close. In my view, this situation was pretty clear, and so that's why I've suggested, and I'm asking the council to to confirm my nomination or appointment of Rodney Wade, who currently serves as our fitness director at the Recreation Center, to the position of Recreation Director for the balance of this term.
I'll make a motion. We concur with the mayor's recommendation.
Support.
Is there discussion on that?
Yeah, I don't think it's quite fair that we were only given that on noon on Saturday, and we're expected to be able to talk to all of the candidates, or, you know, to find out what you saw so strong in Rodney as opposed to the other candidates, especially looking at their resumes.
Yeah, I'd like
I
to make
think
a
we should
motion
have
to
a
table
chance
it
to be able to
for
talk to them.
one meeting.
Well, I mean, it's been considered for longer than that. I understand you received it.
We have not known who the other candidates were until noon on Saturday.
And it was, as I said, it was pretty clear from the interview process.
I'd still like a little more time myself, too. Not saying one way or the other, but I agree. I think there's a little more time. I don't see where 2 weeks would make a huge difference in the way the Recreation Department runs. Make sure we get it right.
Well, you will then have a vacant spot for that time.
For about a week? When's she done, on Thursday?
Yep, so a week and a half.
Right, week and a half. I mean, we can't do an interim for a week and a half. I mean, personally, I'd like to see the whole, I know you're doing something with the banquet center also, and I'd like to see the whole package. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'd like to make a motion to table it for 2 weeks until the next meeting, and just have a little more time to go through some of the other resumes.
I'll support that.
Is there discussion on that?
I think we have a motion on the table.
We actually do have
Okay.
a motion and support. Do we have a motion and support? We do have a motion and support. So unless you're willing to amend that motion. Does the tabling motion to that? You're actually.
motion takes precedent over the motion.
Right, there is actually a table, to table that motion would be the tabling. So I think we do have to vote on the tabling motion.
That's correct.
There is a support. Any discussion on the tabling motion? And like I said, I've gone through the process, and I've been working on the Recreation Department for a long time now. I'm pretty comfortable with the decision. If people need more time, I understand that. However, as I have expressed to you guys continuously now, there is urgency needed with that.
You know, we talked earlier on salary too.
Right.
That wasn't mentioned.
No, I would ask that the salary remain the same as the current directors. If somebody wanted to make an amending motion on that, I would understand, but I would ask it's for the same amount of work, and it will actually not be a much, if any, as the treasurer and I were figuring out, cost increase
Same salary.
to the city. Because that position would not, his current position would not be filled. And then he's also not gonna need the health insurance from the city. So there's no discussion on the tabling motion. All those in favor, please say yes.
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 Opposed?
No.
No. May need a roll call on the tabling motion.
Okay. Okay, this roll call vote is to table the motion. Mayor Drapieski,
No.
Councilman Beller,
Yes.
Councilman Bergeron,
Yes.
Councilman Martin,
Yes.
Councilman Tefend,
No.
Councilwoman Thomas,
No.
Councilman Robel.
No.
And that motion failed 4-3.
Is there further discussion on the motion, on the original motion?
Well, as far, I mean, if you're talking wages and stuff like that, I mean,
So when they're appointed, they're going right to top wage? Is that your intent? Or do you step it, or what, you know?
He said because an email I got, I don't forget the same one, it said, it has to give the same salary and as Joan and the other department heads and 3 weeks of vacation. And you realize the term will run through the end of the year.
If you want to make an amending motion to that, the salary is my recommendation.
Okay.
Now, if we hire somebody else in the banquet, are we gonna be taking some of the load off from the rec director position?
Depends on how you define load. So the current recreation director, although responsible for the oversight of the banquet center, has not been directly involved in the sales or marketing and to that extent.
Okay.
So is there a theoretical load off? Yes. Is it really a change in day to day? Probably not. I'm looking at what we need to do around the banquet center is more of a net change to how we operate the banquet center than the overall structure of the department. We already have the banquet center financially, like all the departments of the rec center, are kind of split out. It just so happens the banquet center, or the banquet part of the recreation center, is the most probably non-government thing we do here. It's the thing most like a private business, in that, booking a wedding reception at the banquet center is the same. You're competing against other community centers and a lot of other private businesses to do that. It's also different than a lot of other government functions in that, you're talking about marketing. There aren't a lot of functions in government where you talk about pure marketing. You talk a lot about, revenue and cost containment and maximizing service value. But when you're looking at, the operations of the rec center and, the ability to affect more revenue that allows you to do more things in other ends of the building, the banquet center is kind of unique in that regard. And that, I think there are things we can do from a quote-unquote marketing perspective to have more events there. And not just big wedding receptions. I'm talking more, community events. I'm talking, Little League fundraisers. I'm talking about a wrestling club fundraiser. I'm talking about all the fundraisers that having, 2 kids in elementary school like I have, you get invited to go to a ton of fundraisers. And too many of them are not being held at our facility, and it begs the question why, right? So when we're talking about how we can change the banquet center specifically, it's those kinds of things. So while this position oversees all of that operation, that's why finding a recreation director for the city of Flat Rock is different than even some of our surrounding communities. Because it's not just about planning, Breakfast with Santa or, the summer programs. It's about having, oversight on, a health club, a banquet operation, a senior center, a ball field complex that's, a fairly robust operation in its own right, as well as all the other normal parks and events. And it's a pretty big task. And finding somebody with the skill set that has, the understanding of government, customer service skills, marketing skills, business set of skill sets, as well as government, as well as recreational set of skills, is kind of it's a daunting. Joanne, to her credit, worked, very, very hard at what is a very difficult job. So that's my long-winded way of saying, you know,
Yeah.
will it take some load off? Maybe theoretically, yes, but from a day-to-day operations, I don't know. I mean, that's we need to be increasing work versus redistributing work is, I guess what it comes down to.
So he's gonna be doing basically his current position, right? Taking on the additional work. And then you also said that healthcare, he's not taking healthcare, correct?
Correct. Which is at a family rate, a fairly significant savings. All right, any other discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor, please say yes.
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 Opposed?
No.
Motion carried 6-1. All right, and then I hope depending on my work schedule, I hope at I believe at the next council meeting I'll be giving a state of the city address, as I've done the last couple of years. 2015, as I alluded to a couple of times in the last couple of meetings, is going to be a very big year in the city of Flat Rock. We have an awful lot that's going to be going on. If council sees on your calendars for the year, we've had this nice little sticker printed. This year is actually the 50th anniversary of Flat Rock as a city from 1965 all the way through 2015. Hopefully, and this year is going to kick off kind of what I'm calling a year-long celebration of Flat Rock, celebrating our history. Yeah, I'm a parishioner at St. Rock, and as we were building the new church at St. Rock, Father Rick, the former pastor, kind of had a saying, and that is you celebrate the past by preparing for the future. And that's kind of how I'm viewing this year in the city of Flat Rock. I think we have a lot in Flat Rock to be very, very proud of. This is such a great community, and that's why people are moving here, and that's why people who have lived here all their lives love it here. And whether it's going to be paving roads or doing some of the repairs to City Hall or a new splash pad or several other events that I'll outline at the next meeting, I think we have some pretty cool ways where we can celebrate a pretty important milestone for us all as a community. So, again, unless something in my work schedule comes up that would derail that, at the next council meeting, I'll be outlining some of those things, and also talking about. I know not everybody watches all the council meetings, but we're out to bid on a lot of really cool projects in terms of road paving and water and sewer infrastructure and those kinds of things. So when I say that 2015 is going to be a very busy year in Flat Rock, it is going to be a very busy year in Flat Rock, and we're going to be, moving at a pace that Flat Rock hasn't necessarily always moved at, which will present its own challenges, but after coming out of the recession that we've come out of, and at least now with the appearance that things, may have at least stabilized a little bit, I'm pretty excited. We'll also have a couple of, including one very, very special announcement about a new business that's coming to Flat Rock as a teaser. So stay tuned to the same bat time, the same bat channel, in 2 weeks, and it's going to be a great year in the city of Flat Rock. So Happy New Year to everybody, and we'll hopefully see you in a couple weeks. All right, we'll move on to unfinished. I don't think we have any unfinished business.
No unfinished business.
We'll go on to new business. It's our invoice for DCC membership and mutual aid dues.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, motion carried. For the members of the public that don't know, the Downriver Community Conference is the association of all the Downriver communities that kind of governs how we all work together, and we get a lot of federal grants that we share with other communities, and a lot of services like mutual aid is what shares fire and police services with other communities and provides us help that we wouldn't be able to do on our own. So they're two very valuable organizations. All right. Next item is payment number 1 to RVP Construction for the water main and pavement repairs.
So moved to authorize payment for 27/5/30/25.
Support.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next is the request to set two public hearings for the Community Development Block Grant Program. The Community Development Block Grant is the federal dollars we get from housing and urban development that can only be spent on certain things like handicap accessibility, seniors, and low to moderate income areas. Just so council's aware, our low to moderate income area has changed this year. Unfortunately, the Evergreen project is no longer in that area. I'll make sure that we get a map out of the area to everybody.
It's interesting when you see where the low to moderate income area is. It's like, how does that determine?
For years, I've wondered how they do this, and if anyone sees the map, they'll wonder how they do it too, because it doesn't make much reality sense to me. But it is what it is, and we can't, unfortunately, change it. I tell people every year that the census comes up that it's very important you fill out the census. I talk about in terms of road funding, and here's another example of where people not returning their census has a definitive effect on us as a city. But we do need to set 2 public hearings, so when do we want them set for?
We have them set for the first one.
January
Just grab the
20th.
memo.
January, was it?
Yeah, January 20th.
The next meeting, yep,
Yep.
January 20th.
And February 2nd.
And February
February
2nd. And on February 2nd, we'll do our final determination of where we want to spend the money. spend
So
the
if
funds.
anybody please come with ideas.
I'll make the motion to set those meetings.
Support.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item is a resolution authorizing Monroe Bank and Trust to do the credit cards for city employees. The city employees have had credit cards previously. We are changing banks that issue those credit cards. Hence the need for this.
I don't know if you want it part of the motion,
Yeah.
as employees, including employees with the limits, or you're going to use that as a separate item.
Doesn't matter to me. Anybody have a preference?
Yeah, because that was my questions about who, what, when, and where, because I was just talking to the clerk before about our policy, about credit card policy, and did the employees physically get one, they initially give it back, say, I understand it, I know what's going on with this, or it's just a policy that we've done, and because these are a lot of new department heads that never seen it, because we're done in 2011, city attorney? The policy was done? Because I want to make sure if we got a policy that everybody knows what it is, know the rules of the game and how it's being played here, not just giving somebody a credit card.
No, and I can tell you the way it works. Well, first of all, our limits are, if you notice, relatively low. And then second of all, when the bills come, they're reviewed very carefully. And I can tell you we haven't had any, how long have we had cards now? 3 years?
2011.
2011, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any even remotely close to questionable issue with them.
Okay, yeah, because we do most of our stuff with POs anyway, so I
Yeah.
know, like,
Yeah.
credit card.
And nothing about this changes the purchasing limits, the bid requirements, or anything like that. It's purely a matter of, either A, convenience, or B, expediency on some of these things, especially when, you know, DPS needs something quick to fix something. You know, running back to City Hall to get a PO isn't always the best way to do things, and you also have some vendors that don't take them or won't take checks anymore.
Take 3 days for a
Yeah.
PO. By the time the vendor sets up the account.
Right. We also have other instances where it's much cheaper if we buy things online, and you need a credit card to do that. So we've tried to keep a reasonable limit on each one. Would ask that we add the Economic Development Director to the policy. She's not currently named in the policy, as well as the Chief Mechanic. Are not currently, you know, in the current policy. The rest of the roles are called out by name of the role. Those roles didn't, well, the one role didn't exist at the time for a credit card purpose, and the other role, it's just easier now if the mechanic, you know, what we found in real life usage is it's the mechanic tends to need to get things quick.
I guess my question would be, are these adequate limits? So on
Yeah.
some of them?
Yeah, I mean, that's why the treasurer's limit was kept higher, is if the situation arises, it's another control, if you will. But like I said, it does not in any way circumvent the normal bid requirement process or normal charter spending limits. They're there.
Currently, the limits are 1,000 for the ones we moved up to 1,500, and we have an occasion where we have to, like, oh, my card's getting close to the max, use another card.
Yeah, I mean, I can see Matt burning through that,
In a heartbeat.
you know.
2 days I can max out.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Borrow somebody else's.
Yeah, that's what we do. I mean, and again, that's meant to be, you know, I mean, everyone's seen the news stories over the course of time. You know, first of all, nobody is charging personal stuff on these cards. And second of all, we keep a very tight rein on them.
Yeah, Channel 7's cooking Wayne County right now, so.
So, and we have limited exposure on that, so. And in the policy, it's pretty strict on the abuse of those cards,
With the consequences. Yeah.
Now, are they paid off monthly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And every one of those bills is reviewed by line item.
Yeah, they get the credit card statement and they attach receipts to the credit card statement. And then within the policy, if it's not fairly self-explanatory what they're buying, business purpose and whatever.
And I mean, like I said, it's a credit to the department heads we have, where there aren't many times when because I review every check that we write, at least briefly, and, you know, on credit cards. Our credit cards, I've never had a question on. Some of the other non-city credit cards, yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Support.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right. Brings us to any other citizens to be heard? Well, any correspondence tonight?
No correspondence.
All right.
We'll make the motion to go into closed session to discuss labor negotiations.
Support.
Fire department.
You want to including the fire department? Any discussion? Is there support to that?
Yes.
Any
Support by
discussion?
Thomas.
Not all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes. Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried, 5 minutes.
Hey, Chief?